At this time, I will call the meeting of the Marshall City Council to order with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. A special welcome to our new city administrator, Ben Martig. Today is Ben's first day, so welcome, Ben.
You're still here. I'm excited to be here. I was here with my family this weekend to enjoy the 4th of July festivities down at Independence Park, and we really had a great time. I'm excited to be here. I just want to say a couple of special thank yous to the mayor for the time that he's put in, Glenn and Kathy in particular, and then additionally with the rest of the staff. It's all been very welcoming. Made my first day very pleasurable, and I've got a full schedule of meetings and information. I try to suck in as much as I can at once, and so thank you for the opportunity, and I'm excited to get going and start accomplishing some great things for the city.
Thank you, Ben. We're pleased that you're a part of Marshall's future. Also, special thanks to Glenn. So, give Glenn a round of in serving as interim city administrator. I don't know anyone who could have done a better job. Thanks. We have an agenda before us. Are there any corrections or additions to that agenda? We do have one that I know of, and that is the council has a handout that is to add Ben Martig to sign documents for the city of Marshall. If it is okay with the council, I'd like to add that to the consent agenda. Any objection to that? So that will be added as, we'll add that as E to the consent agenda. Okay, any other changes to the agenda? Okay, we'll operate under that agenda. The first item then would be agenda item number 1, consider approval of the minutes of the June 16th regular council meeting as well as the June 26th special council meeting and the June 30th joint hospital board city council meeting. So there are the printed minutes from each of those meetings. Are there any corrections to note at this time? Motion by Dan, second by Mike. Discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 2 is the award of bids for the wastewater treatment security system.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Bob Van Moore is also here tonight if you have any questions, but if you recall, some time ago we started the redevelopment of the wastewater treatment system at our wastewater plant. And along with that, we felt at the time that we could possibly change our operations at the plant because of the changes to the treatment system by eliminating we call it the night shift, which should be a cost savings to the department. And in doing that, elimination of the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Shift out there, we believe that we should have some additional security for that operation. So I asked Bob to put together what that security system would entail. This is not, there's not video cameras being set up, but it's locking mechanisms for the facility and security so that if something was breached, then notification would be given to the people in charge, for instance. And so that's what we have here tonight. It's a system of about $22,000 worth of improvements and about $1,600 for a laptop computer for monitoring the system as well. We think it's going to be an improvement to the system, both for operations and personnel as well. Bob, any additional information you want to present?
I think that covers it pretty well.
We have checked with Springsteads on the ability to use some of the leftover bonding money from that bond. Any comments there?
No, I did discuss it with Terry Heaton from Springsteads, and she did indicate that, you know, as long as it can be tied into the improvements that were previously made, that she felt it was acceptable expenditure of monies within that construction fund.
My question, Bob, also might be, when would you, as soon as the system was installed, then would be the time that you would change the operational plan for night shift?
Yeah, we had the scheduling worked out where we could shift as soon as the system is up and working. We could actually eliminate that midnight shift. We would shift those operators to the day shift. Be much more efficient for maintenance personnel.
Questions for Glenn or Bob?
Bob, I have one question. In both of these bids with Boomer Electric, is there any type of warranties or guarantees with either one of those as far as problems with creating the first?
They all have a 1-year warranty for parts and labor. So, yeah. Yep, that's all prices on yours.
Thank you, Bob. Any other questions?
Yes. Bob, I guess I'm excuse me, a little surprised to see that there wouldn't be any reduction of staff, or say, that they're going to be working during the day shift. And secondly, you talk about the safety issue of one employee working alone from 12 to 8. What type of security are we going to have on the premises during those hours? At least before we had someone around there, if someone were to break in or whatever, at least you'd be aware of it. Now, we won't have it.
With the SCADA system, we're monitoring every piece of equipment process out there. So if anything were to be disrupted out there, we can give an alarm through the SCADA system to the person who will be on call during that unattended time.
But not through the front gate or...
Not the gate isn't monitored, and that goes down to how sophisticated you want to get with your alarming. You know, we get entry alarms. So this is something that could be built on too in the future. If we wanted an entry alarm on every building on the gates, video surveillance. And right now, we just didn't think it was necessary.
And presumably, if there's a call during the night, those will be overtime hours, so we'll probably not be placing $6,800 of overtime cost over the course of the year. There's bound to be some calls out there.
Yeah, there will still be some calls out there, but overall, you know, I think just the efficiency of realigning the staff and getting more people on the day shift where you get more production on them, I think is going to be, you know, a big value also. There's many days out there that we're so short-staffed during the day already that it's tough to get anything done. So by putting these people on during the day, it's just going to be much more efficient.
I have another question that's unrelated to this. How are we coming with Terry, other problem?
The liner, I actually had a discussion with independent testing laboratory today. He was going to do some checking. He thought that testing would be done. It was about a 2-month test it takes to do this test on the liner to prove the material. He was thinking it was going to be done last week, and I called him today, and he was going to check and see and get back to me. I hadn't heard anything as of the end of the day yet. So.
But apparently nobody wants to accept responsibility. They're juggling, throwing the hot potato from one.
That's kind of where we're at right now. Until we know the material's good, it's pretty tough to make a judgment of how to repair it. So I think that's the first step, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Other questions for Bob and or Glenn? If not, you have the
I would
recommendation.
move recommendation for Boomer Electric, the SCADA system, and from computer man for computer.
Motion by Larry, seconded by Mike. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks.
Agenda item number 3 is the bituminous, consider the award of bids for the bituminous resurfacing project on various city streets. Glenn?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We got good bids for our overlay projects. You can see the summary on the abstract of bids on 3-2. We have left the project kind of open-ended as far as being able to add if we had additional material. We were budgeting for about $200,000 worth. However, you can see maybe in our next project too, we have some seal coating that we want to get done. It looks like it was over our budgeted amount, but that did not take, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, that did not take into consideration the seal coating that we were doing on the wastewater roads as well. We're within budget on that. We want to wait to see what happens with our limited patching amounts before we would expand it. So we're recommending that we approve it as shown with the McLaughlin Schultz in the amount of $187,240.
Questions for Glenn? Motion by Dan, seconded by Larry to award the bid for the bituminous resurfacing on city streets. Discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the motion passes, which leads us into agenda item number 4. We consider the award of bid for the bituminous chip sealing on various city streets.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This one, you can see that when we bid this project, we had a specific type of oil in mind for the work, the type of oil that we believed would give us the best product. During the bid process, we had a few phone calls, I was going to say several, but a few phone calls, and that most companies couldn't get the type of oil we specified. It was a polymer type of oil. So we did indicate that we would consider other types of oil if they submitted a bid with it. Specifically, we allowed the polymer not to be included in that in the bidding. And we did get a bid with the polymer included. We do believe that there's enough benefit in the polymer in the oil to recommend the award to the, not the low bidder, but it's the second low bidder, which there was only 2 bidders. And the difference was about, I thought about $1,488 more. We believe that's worth it, and we would recommend awarding the chip seal project to McLaughlin & Schultz in the amount of $88,227. We may adjust that quantity somewhat depending upon what wastewater is doing to fall within our budgeted amount. If there's any questions, I'll sure take them, but this one we're not recommending the absolute low bid. We believe that it's the best and the lowest bid.
And it's one that meets the specifications.
Yes, it's the one that met our original specifications.
Questions?
Make motion approved. Second.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Mike. Discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 5 is the Southview Drive Improvement Project. We have 2 items before us. First would be the resolution declaring the official intent regarding the reimbursement of the expenditures and the proceeds of tax exempt bonds. And second would be the resolution that would accept the bid and award the contract. Once again, Glenn.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This one is the project that was initiated by Marshall Municipal Utilities for water main replacement. And then when the wastewater department reviewed the sanitary sewer as well, that was in bad shape. They couldn't even tell by from one end to the other. So that was brought into it. So we have bid the project. It fell well within our estimate, and we're recommending award of the contract to GM Contracting of Lake Crystal for $592,659.30. This is a special assessment project. We will be bringing that forward with a special assessment hearing at a later date. We've discussed the project with the property owners as well for the need of the project.
Thank you, Glenn. Questions for Glenn? If not, is there a motion to a resolution declaring the official intent to reimburse the expenditures as well as a resolution accepting and awarding the contract? Second. Motion by Larry, second by Dan. Discussion. Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. And agenda item number 6 is also considered the award of bids for the 2008 street reconstruction project for Harbor Court, Moose Lane, Morningside Circle, Horizon Circle, Sunset Circle, Emerald Court, and the Shepherd Street. And the actions, again, similar before us, are the resolutions declaring the cost to be assessed, one in preparation of the proposed assessment. Second would be the resolution for the hearing on the proposed assessment. And the third action would be the resolution declaring the official intent regarding the reimbursement of expenditures with the proceeds of tax exempt bonds. And then finally would be considered the resolution that would accept the bid and award the contract. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You can see this one, we have several different projects bid under one umbrella with the opportunity to approve any, all, or none of them. All of the meetings that we've held with the property owners have been very receptive. They've got water issues, they've got street issues. The streets themselves are past the point of a minor repair project. So we do have bids for the project, and we would recommend awarding the contract to McLaughlin Schultz in the amount of $641,302.40. And one other comment, the reason for, of course, the tax, I'm sorry, I have to get the tax exempt bond motion is that if in fact we end up using proceeds from bonding, that allows us to do so. Sometimes funds that from, or the city funds that from other sources, but we have to have that before we award any contract, if in fact there's a potential for the possibility for that, for using some bonding. Not that we're going to use that in every case, but that's why we do pass that prior to awarding the contract. If you have any questions, we can take them.
Okay. Questions for Glenn? One question would be, the audience, the timetable, when the project will occur.
I would expect that the projects would begin within the next month. I would say 2 weeks out at the minimum. We have to get our bonding in, have to get our contract ready, our pre-construction conference, our notice of award. Usually we can get things going, but it'll be 2 weeks to 4 weeks depending upon contractor's operation. For instance, overlays might be sooner depending upon if these contractors have everything in place. Normally for us, they would do them sooner, but 2 weeks to a month to get them going.
So these projects would likely start construction before the assessments were certified.
That's correct. And one comment on the assessments. We have put together the assessment rolls. We're taking those out for hearings. We've established a maximum amount of assessment by previous construction projects. However, we're also doing the token appraisals of certain types of properties within each of the districts. And we'll have those, and those will be listed as the maximum assessments that we will be bringing forward. We've used to this point for our discussions previous year's maximums of $5,200 per property. Depending upon what the appraisals come back on the individual types of property, at the assessment hearing, we will be bringing that information back to you. So we've maxed it out, maybe a lower max. City may be responsible for paying more than what we show today.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Any other questions? Now, is there a motion on those 4 resolutions? Motion by Dan, second by Larry. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, the motion passes. Agenda item number 7 is a public hearing on the West College Drive Improvement Project. We'll have a public hearing on the improvement, and then consider the resolution that would order the improvement and the preparations of plan and specifications. I'll call on Glenn Olson to conduct this public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And first of all, is there anyone here interested in the audience of this specific project? And the reason I'm asking is because really it involves 3 property owners with 2 property owners receiving improvements. This is the Burlington Northern Railroad track. This is the Parkway 2 addition, just to the north. The airport is over here on the left. This is Trunk Highway 19, West College Drive. And this is the last 2 properties just before the railroad tracks on the north side of Trunk Highway 19. The closest sanitary sewer to the property is this manhole located here. That's an extension that comes across from Parkway 2 addition. This also then services the area to the east of this area. But what we're talking about now is this improvement to extend a public sewer from this manhole to this manhole for the connection of this property and this property, which are both currently served by septic tank systems. One of the property owners is interested in the future sale of this home, needs to make an upgrade to his sanitary system, and that is the appropriate method within the city of Marshall to do that. Now you can see that we have to cross a piece of property that's currently served by sanitary sewer, which will take either an agreement by this property owner to get to that property or by a condemnation action. We never intend to go that way as long as there is a receptive person to discuss and obtain an easement from at a reasonable price. We did have that easement appraised at about $600, and we'll need to negotiate and work with this property owner to get this easement. We've also talked to the property owner about the potential of, rather than an open cut, to bore it underneath the property so that there wasn't surface disturbances to the property. We've also talked about the other 2 property owners about that as well. It certainly is a little bit less expensive for us to be able to open cut it, and that would be our intent for the long term. And it's an expensive project. And typically, in original construction projects, the property owner's benefits are required to pay 100% of that cost. In this case, that may amount to at least $18,000 in our estimate each for that improvement. Considerably more than it would be is if they improve their own septic system on site. But the way that we perceive a project like this is if there is sanitary sewer reasonably available in the neighborhood, we require them to hook up. They cannot do an increase or improvement to their septic system unless there's, let's say we were 1,000 feet away from a current sewer system. So that's the direction that we're taking with the property owners. Now, is that cost too extreme? It may be. In my opinion, there's some level of cost involving an improvement for a property within the city of Marshall that we should at least be able to discuss with the property owners. What number that is, it should be at least as much as what it would be to improve their system with the septic system, and probably something more than that as a property owner within the city limits. So that's what will be coming forward in when we start talking about the assessment process. We have left the door open for them to run their own private service lines all the way from this manhole to their house and all the way from that manhole to their house. Private line, your cost, you install it, you pay for it, you maintain it forever.
And they have to negotiate these.
And And they would either have to negotiate the easement and get that, or the city could be an intermediary on that development, on the easement. But if it would be private, strictly private, I would expect it would be a private easement as well. Sometimes that, that sometimes is a sticking point for neighbors to work together to get that accomplished. So, we're asking for tonight is for that, this is the improvement hearing. I don't see anyone here tonight adverse to it, but I will say that we're in discussions with both property owners. Both property owners have petitioned for the improvement. Both have asked for it.
What
Yeah,
you've done
go ahead.
with your introduction or explanation, I do have a...
Go ahead.
So, I talked to the part of this property owner today, and they are obviously looking for all the options that are available to them because of the cost that we've projected for this project. And one thing that they've discussed is that they may want to hold off on the actual implementation of this project for up to a month while they are looking at this. They've talked to an attorney about what their problems or provocations could be on some of the property with the septic tank versus public improvement for a sewer system. And I've also had a couple of discussions with them on options for privately funded service lines and or a small grinder lift station that could pump to the manhole. And so they want to kind of weigh those options. They've also been in contact with the Lyon County zoning department, and who actually kind of regulates the septic tank requirements within the county. And so I don't know what, they just had that discussion today, so I don't know what the county gave them for information or even options. So I think they want to see where that leads, and then maybe either proceed with this project or decide to go private. But that was their indication as of 5 o'clock this afternoon when I called them. So that's as much as I know.
And where do they presently, those two property owners, get their water service? Right out in 19, isn't it, when we...
Well, 19 is the water main. So, that's our discussion, and I think that we should authorize this, and we'll have further discussions with the property owners, because if we withhold the authorization, I would hate for them to decide by August that, yeah, now we want to do it, we come back to you, and now we aren't able to do it before fall freeze up.
Is there any other questions or discussion as part of this public hearing?
No, I think you're right, and as long as they petition for it, we should go ahead. I don't know. What time frame are you thinking?
This is the public hearing, and no other input. It would be you authorizing and ordering the preparation of the plans, which there's not much to it after this point. That's the location. The grade is pretty much set, but for us to authorize that, and we'll continue to work with the property owners. One may decide, I want a private service. The other may decide, I want a public service. Now, what will be the relationship of the cost then? So that will be something we'll bring back to.
Mr. Mayor?
I guess my feeling is that it's in the city limits that we do not allow them to upgrade private sewer systems. That is not an option.
It's in our ordinance that way, I believe, as long as it's physically available.
Correct. Other input as part of the public hearing?
That is just a question. We rezoned that about a year ago. Are those two owners given any thought to let their property go and that business absorb it? And then my thought of that would be there would be no need to do that, to run the sewer system in.
This time, the answer is absolutely not.
Just in case you have questions.
Yep, at this time.
Any other questions or input? Now, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Motion by Dan, second by Larry. Discussion? Not all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. We'll now consider the resolution that would order the improvement and preparation of the plans.
So moved.
Motion by Larry, seconded by Dan. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 8 is also a public hearing. This will be on public hearing on the small city grant guidelines. And Mark Hanson, this public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In front of you, we have the proposed guidelines for the small cities grant. Currently, we have about $110,000 available from grant funds of small cities grant in 2004. The guidelines we're bringing forward are very similar to what we had in the past. We are limiting entities to be within the central business district. We're doing a 50-50 split, meaning 50% of the funds for the improvement would have to come from the property owner, 50% would come from the small cities grant. We're looking at a maximum funding of 6 projects. The terms for the forgiven 0% deferred loan would be 5 years. Essentially 20% would be forgiven each year. As far as maximum funds per applicant, we're not putting a maximum. So we'll take the applicants as they come in, first come, first served, upon approval of the design committee. And then as far as the figure, with 110,000 divided by 6 potential projects, the average project would be $18,333.
Mark, is the source of this $110,000 the original grant, or is the source the revolving repayment of the portion that has to be repaid?
This will be the revolving repayments, the payments we receive back in that we are now putting out back into the community.
So there will be an ongoing amount.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the amount of funds we've earmarked for this project. Essentially, by the time let me back up a little bit, we're looking at doing another series of small cities grant application. By the time that application comes in, we should have about 135 to 140,000 in that. But we're going to be pledging the remainder funds towards the next application. So we're only bringing 110,000 forward for this series of applications.
Okay, my question though is, why do we set a policy just for the balance that we have now, knowing that balance is a moving target? We'll continue to have repayment that will go in there, but we have just a general set of guidelines that will apply to the fund.
Okay. What we're looking at here is a commercial project. The small cities grant that we're going to be applying for in the future will be owner occupied and rental property. That application, we would not be able to put commercial property into that. We would not qualify. Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership has said that our downtown is in a bad situation, is in a state of disrepair. So that next series of applications we would not qualify. So if we had the revolving funds that would come back to us, they would be absorbed by that next series of grants. So we would not be able to use them for commercial. So we want to use these monies for commercial, and the next series would be just for owner-occupied and rental property. So as it keeps getting repaid, it would just be absorbed by the next series of grants anyway.
Right?
Excuse me, how did they arrive at a maximum of 6 entities? What is EDA?
We went through the guidelines with the EDA, and the EDA discussed it. We started with 3, and we thought, well, maybe 6 projects. Each project that you would administrate through the Western Community Action, there's a fee. If it was 10 projects, there'd be 10 different fees for each applicant. So we wanted to put some kind of a guideline of a maximum amount, looking at the fact that we only have 110,000. If we put 10 applicants in there, there'd only be about 10,000 per application, and there's an administrative fee for each grant.
I know, but I personally would like, if I'm going to get a gift of 10 to 18,000, I'd like to see it spread to as many of the downtown businesses as necessary. How did the EDA arrive at that number? 6.
Originally it was 3. We thought it would be better to 2.
money out there, you really can't get much of a project.
You gotta have a certain dollar amount to make it worthwhile for business owners.
If I can get a $10,000 gift forgiven and put in 10, I'd still be happy. As a business owner in the dock, I just see,
There's some.
I don't see
really-
any logic.
There's some really expensive, one of the reasons there's some really expensive storefronts. Business stores. And this is supposed to be 18,333 per project.
Average, that'd be the average.
So
You divide 6 by 110.
Yeah, not just applicant per project.
Yes.
So that's roughly $36,000. This is the dollars that go away if we don't.
It wouldn't officially go away, if they'd be absorbed by the next series of grants.
That's right.
Let's say if we got a $600,000 grant awarded, essentially we get $490,000 new funds and absorb these funds into the new grant.
Other input as part of the public hearing? Now, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Motion by Larry, seconded by Mike, to close the public hearing. Discussion. All in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the motion passes. Now entertain a motion on the approval or not approval of the guidelines for the small cities grant as detailed on 8-2.
Just for clarification, is it on the back of 8-2, the dotted area?
That's the downtown district. Which
Well,
all
not the
counties-
dotted area, that's not the downtown.
No, Jenny, it's the solid line that's in the center,
But this grant will be able to go toward
central business.
the solid.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Didn't copy very well.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Which takes on a pretty good area.
It's the same exact guidelines of the original 2004 small cities grant. We're following the same guidelines, same area.
Is there a motion?
Move approval?
Motion by Mike, seconded by Dan to approve the guidelines for the small cities grant. Discussion. Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Mark.
As one addition, just to know, we are going to put out a public notice tomorrow. We'll be out in the paper and that'll be run for 15 days.
Very good. Agenda item number 9 is the consent agenda. We have a number of items on the consent agenda. We have a plumber's license for Federer Mechanical. Second is a declaration of surplus property. Third are the bills and the project payments. Also on the consent agenda are the building permits that have been previously approved by city staff. And also added to the consent agenda was the authorization of Ken Martic as a signator for the city of Lawrence. So is there any item on the consent agenda, any member wants, the council wants to remove from the consent agenda for purposes of such discussion?
Yes, it's not shown there separately, but the prior and current year construction contracts, there's a question about that, is page 9C-16.
We'll consider that a C, those project payments.
Yep, okay.
Others,
C.
Move approval of remaining consent agenda?
second, motion by Mike, seconded by Larry to approve consent agenda items A, B, and E. Discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion passes. Okay, question about the project payments, Mike.
Yes, I guess I would like to see, on the first three items, one to carry over from '04, one from '05, and one from '06. Just an explanation of what's holding them up. Completion.
I can touch base on a couple of them, Mike. The Boyer Drive one is outstanding because of the holdup of the wetlands reconstruction at the intersection of Boyer Drive and Trunk Highway 59. That one's being incorporated into the new Windstar project that is not under construction yet, and to get approval of the Windstar project incorporates a change to the Boyer Drive project.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the issue there. The other two, the runway 1230 Phase 2 is in the final stages with as-built construction and final through MnDOT Aeronautics. Tom, correct? And Parkway Addition 2 has still got some outstanding minor construction. That is a consulted project through Bolton Mink, and we're waiting for the contractor job to finish that project. It's essentially complete, but not finalized out, and Tom and I have been anxiously awaiting closing out of those projects as well.
Any other questions on the bills or project payments?
We'll move the bill.
Motion by Mike, second by Dan. Discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 10, first item of new business, we need a call for a public hearing on the request of R&G Construction for a conditional use permit to construct two-family dwellings, location 1500 and 1501 Ellis Avenue, 1102 Windstar Street, 1500 Quartzsite Circle, and 1500 to 1509 Diamond Drive. And the action here is to call for a public hearing that comes to us without recommendation from the planning commission. Glenn?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As a point of explanation, this request came from the contractor for the conditional use permit for these lots this is Windstar. You can see the location of these lots. Trunk Highway 59 going south, the proposed Windstar Street area. This is the new subdivision that they're developing. This is the area that they're looking for a conditional use permit, still leaving the zoning as R1. This was brought to the Planning Commission at a regular meeting. There was no quorum. There was a special Planning Commission called. There was no quorum. So they have had ample opportunity to review the request, and then it is forwarded to the City Council. So in this case, we are going to be handling the public hearing process as a City Council action item. And you can see the recommendations that went to the Planning Commission as well, the items 1 through 6. We can read through them, but they would be typical for conditional use for this type of request. The hearing will be at our next regular meeting, and if you have any questions prior to that.
I just have one, if we could, for that public hearing, just a kind of a breakdown between the 2 units, 2 under single ownership, what the intent is.
Okay. If you remember Mr. James Carr's request earlier on the area south of Elaine, it is a similar request in that there would be the potential for individual ownership or joint ownership. It allows either of those two things, but they'd be single-family units.
But I would like to know a breakdown of how many of the one type, 2 unit versus single ownership.
By doing this, you would allow that type of construction at any of those green shaded lots, and a representative of the owner will be there at the hearing to discuss things.
So the zoning action would allow it. He may have an indication of how many of each type we would want, but couldn't be posted on it. So-
Right.
Yes.
Motion to call for the public hearing. Okay.
Motion by Mike, second by Larry. Discussion? If not, for discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 11, consider the resolution approving the final plat of the University Park Second Edition.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the University Park Second Edition. north, that's Highway 59. To the east, UCLA Street meets Ellis Avenue. It goes up to Canoga Park Drive, behind Action Sports and the apartments and some of the trailer court. This portion of Iowa State is already constructed, as well as this connection on UCLA Street to Ellis Avenue. The preliminary plat was included in the original concept design of this entire piece. Now he's developed this, he's got a couple of houses built, he's looking for the extension of the rest of it down to future Windstar Street. If that's developed prior to Windstar Street, they still continue to have access and ingress and egress to this. It involves the development of these lots, of which these lots are already zoned multiple family. So the zoning issues are already passed and taken care of for these sites. We had a couple of comments on the most interesting one being the ownership of the property. There's a transition of ownership, and one of the approval items is making sure that prior to platting, prior to recording of the plat, that Dennis is completely comfortable with the name of the owners of the property are the same as the name of the owners on the plat. That's why currently what you'll see is University Park LLC that's on the plat, which is not the current owner of the property. And Des, maybe a comment on that? I think that's all I know.
Right, the owner has provided to the city a title opinion verifying ownership, but the name appearing in the ownership abstract is different than what Glenn just referred to here, and that's apparently on the plat. And there was also an issue with the natural gas line easement, but that's on apparently the other side of the field up there.
In the title opinion, there was some discussion of, for the abstract review,
Yes.
of a natural gas pipeline easement on the property. When that was researched, it was on the western half of the quarter section and not on this property. There's also another item that we've attached now to developing subdivisions, that they have half of an easement that's within the subdivision. And when the next property is developed, the expectation used to be that the other half of the easement was provided by that owner. When we do have the same owner, we have been requiring in the last 3 subdivisions we've had like this, that property owner also dedicate the 7.5-foot easement for the installation of those utilities, installation, operation, and maintenance, in conjunction with this plat, even though it's outside of the confines of the plat itself. That was done when this was installed. You can see that same 7.5-foot strip right here. We also have a dedicated 7.5-foot utility easement outside of this platted property. You don't see it on here. We make it a condition of the approval of the final plat. And then there's no question of whether or not they have the right to be on that property with their utilities, even though it may be outside the platted area.
And is there a dedication of the easement for Iowa State Avenue that connects to the Windstar that would actually be below or beyond what this final plat would be?
Yes, it is. And he is this property owner is only able to dedicate within the property they own. The next, and so that's what they're doing. The next action will be us coming forward with the entire Windstar description with 2 other property owners on that description. And so we'll be needing to do that with our Windstar project, as well as the completion of the one property next to Trunk Highway 59. But in the meantime, this property does have public access to our existing street system.
Excuse me, I have a question, Glenn. I'm jumping over a little bit on Ellis. In the street of Ellis, is the sewer front door is, which one of those is 6 inches? It's certified as 8 by the developer.
There was one that was 8 versus 10 with the sanitary,
But one was put in undersized versus what it was certified as, is that right?
The original design.
Yeah.
And then it was put in different size and then reviewed to see if it was technically adequate to provide the flow, and it was. Otherwise, it would have had to be replaced.
So the documents changed?
No, the as-bills are changed, but the sizing of them was adequate to provide the
So
flow.
when that was extended out in the map, what's the deal?
No problem with the flow.
Well, no problem with flow, but they put it in an oversized pipe
That's correct.
versus what was downstream because what they were told.
That's correct.
How does that happen?
By the inspector not being there, that's one way. By the contractor installing it, not
And that was,
understanding what they were doing.
That was a private,
Yes,
okay.
that's why we had to review it to see if in fact it would handle the oversizing. And the oversizing that was required by RNG to connect to it was still installed that way.
Yeah. I was just kind of, that question was asked to me and I was just kind of wondering how it all.
Okay. Any other questions about this final plat? If not, is there a motion to approve the final plat of University Park Second Edition?
So moved.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Mike. Discussion. If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 12, consider the authorization to hire David Engel as a full-time police officer to be sworn in and to enter into Public Employee Retirement Association. Brian, are you here for this? Okay. Brian, yeah, I'll turn it to you. And or Tom, are you going to do this, right?
He's not here.
He's not here, okay. Okay. Anything you want to add at this time?
No, this is just authorization to hire. I think Rob's intention would be to be sworn in 2 weeks.
Okay. Comments, Glenn?
Yes. Tom, would you bring up the latest information we have about hiring of police officers as far as the procedure of the PERA, how it used to be and how it will be in the future?
In the past, it has been the practice to bring to the council a resolution that would actually appoint the officer, give him the powers of arrest, and to be under the police and fire section of PRA. That is no longer required. The other thing is that in our personnel policy, it requires that police officer to be approved by the city council. I think that's looking at being probably eliminated as well. So we may not be doing this process in the future.
But we still want to continue with this process, with this officer.
Okay. Mike, any comments on the municipal service process?
No, the police commission did meet, went over the guidelines, somebody was there for the testing, someone was there for physical agility fight and so forth, and came up with the approved list that's in effect for the next 6 months. And this person was hired off on that list.
Is there a motion to authorize the hiring of David Engel as full-time officer to be sworn in and enter at the PPRA? Motion by Dan, second by Larry. Discussion. Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 13, review and approval of the sale of city-owned land to KHC Construction. Right?
Mark, I think you'll pass that one to you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. What you have in front of you is a request by Kim Christensen to purchase city-owned property. As you'll see in the map on 13-3, is a piece of property that is adjacent to his current business, KHC Construction. It is a small piece of property, 192.5 feet by 60 feet. Essentially, it is too small to acquire by another entity, put another retail entity on there, or et cetera. Now, currently, as you can see, it's mostly roadway. Kim has been maintaining it, keeping it clear of snow, et cetera, and he requested that I inquire about potentially selling it to him. Upon that request, I had the appraisal completed, and the appraisal came up as a value of $1,300. The cost of the appraisal was $300, and there's other small closing costs. In talking with Mr. Christensen, he said he would agree to pay the appraisal cost, the appraised value, and any other costs associated with closing. Any questions?
Questions?
Yes, if I'm reading this right, we presently own 192.5 feet. We're going to sell 165 feet. Why would we want to keep a piece 27 feet by 60 feet in city ownership? Doesn't make any sense.
I see how you're reading that. Essentially, we're taking a piece away of a much larger piece. That is selling the whole piece that the city owns. When you look at the map, the way the actual legal description is written, except the easterly 165 feet, so except as his portion.
We are getting rid of the entire.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think what he's talking about is the difference between the credit back to the...
Right, and that's it. It's taking away instead of adding to, so yeah, that's the way it's read. That was the actual legal description.
So we retain the right way from Ontario.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Mike, to approve the sale of the property as described and for the amount described to KHC Construction. Discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. And then agenda item number 14 is consider the approval of the Economic Development Authority as the city marketing agent. Once again, Glenn, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have some backup information essentially showing you economic development strategic plan in the past, showing some of the duties that were given to me as director, and also some background information on economic development in general, specifically part 2 as far as marketing the community. Normal and customary responsibility of the economic development director is to market the community to other businesses, promote the community to other businesses, and give them opportunity to see what we have as amenities, et cetera, et cetera. But in doing that, we worked with the EDA board, and they said, well, shouldn't we be looking at possibly marketing the community as a whole? A little bit more broad scope than just marketing to businesses. And that essentially is working with city signs, city banners, working with the city promotional brochure that is basically marketing our city as a whole. The reason for this proposal is to look at expanding our budget. Right now, we have a small budget for general projects. In order to market the city as a whole, we're going to need some larger sum of funds to pay for signs, pay for design, pay for graphic production, et cetera, et cetera. So the Vice President of the EDA said we'd like to hear from the council to make sure that they are in 100% agreement that the Economic Development Authority should be the ones as the marketing agent for the city.
Glenn and or Ben, you have any questions?
No, we kind of discussed the division head meetings, and it's kind of an issue that we haven't had a clear definition of who's doing what for the city. And I think that helps that. I think the chamber is a member responsive organization that probably doesn't take into consideration non-member needs, but the EDA certainly does. And so that might be a reason for this as well.
Questions the council has? Now, is there a motion to approve the EDA as the city marketing agent? So, motion by Larry, second by Mike. Discussion. Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 15. Thank you, Mark. Annexation actions regarding certain properties within the city of Marshall. A joint resolution on the order of the annexation, as well as the introduction of an ordinance resulting from previous action.
and Council, this one is an interesting annexation. It's the Sonstagard property, or what we call that, as well as a small tract here as well, in addition to it. And we did that annexation by ordinance. And according to state law, that excuse me, seems appropriate. So when we sent it into the state for review, it indicated because the property was in an orderly annexation area, it should be done by resolution, joint resolution with the town board. They agreed that state law seems to allow the annexation by ordinance as submitted, and they would agree with us and submit it on for further review by the Attorney General's office. Our issue has been that we want to take care of the sale of the property as timely as possible, and that response might not be as timely as what we would like to see. So we said, what do you need us to do? They said, well, the simplest thing is for us to revoke the ordinance, do it by orderly annex, joint resolution, have the township sign off, and it's a done deal. So that's why we're bringing it back to you for that procedure. We still have another procedure pending with them until they do get the Attorney General's opinion in the areas that we had 100% ownership by city entity as well. That's allowed by state law, and a part of that was within the joint orderly annexation area as well, but we can afford to wait for that one. So we're recommending that as well. There's a new state law that requires us to indicate the actual dollar amounts that we're going to be sending the township in taxes. We do have that agreed to by the township supervisors. We need to put that in writing. That has not been the case with our previous joint orderly annexation agreements. It did not have to be specifically stated in the ordinance, in the resolution. But it said if you have a separate document, a letter, that the township was okay with that amount, they were fine with that. So we'll be proceeding with that as well. We do have the amount that has been defined by Dean Champagne of the county. It's actually a 5-year declining schedule, but the dollar amounts, for instance, one of them was $20 over the 5 years. We thought that maybe we could make one check for that. Some of those, this one was considerable. This one was $680 or close to $700, I think, over a 5-year period of time too. Probably just as easy to make one check out and take care of it and we're done. So we're going to be getting the letter from the township accepting their recommendations from the county on the dollar amount. We'll include that in this resolution.
Thank you. Mike?
Glenn, what the 2.37 acres, why was that included?
That was the area outside the city limits, that this entire area then was surrounded by city limits. And the intent was everything that was within the city limits, we wouldn't have a little exception within there.
But is that still owned by Tri-State Petroleum?
Yes, I believe it is.
As far as we know, I understand there are issues related to that, but the title still is in Tri-State.
Actually, I had talked to what I consider to be, who said he was the previous owner, he said he no longer owned it. But there was a different name.
We sent out the notifications for the annexation, so in accordance with
Well,
our...
I'm wondering if it got to the right place.
We can check.
I think
But
that's,
by this resolution, it wouldn't really matter. They have no choice in the matter. It's by township and city action.
okay.
Other questions for Glenn?
Second.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Larry for the resolution for the orderly annexation as well as the introduction of the ordinance that would revoke the previous ordinance. Discussion on that motion? motion, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the motion passes. Agenda item number 16 is a change order with the Marshall Aquatic Center project. Then you have this.
Yes. You can take a look at what we had done there. The previous, this is actually a reduction. The previous change order that we had on this authorized up to a certain amount, $3,500. This now is a, we call it a balancing change order, that it was to be done by time and materials. Came to $32,42.79. So this reduces the contract amount by $287.21.
Is there a motion in support of that change order?
So,
Motion by Mike, second by Larry. Discussion.
Shane, is the pool leaking or is everything cool?
Everything's good.
Good. Any other discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. As long as we're on that, and maybe, that's what you're getting at. The project is complete, work is fine, and understand attendance exceeds previous years' attendance. Of course, the weather's been very good on that.
Tom said this morning that he's had less problems with chlorine balancing and obviously less water that he's had to add during the hot periods, so he's very pleased with the performance.
Very good. Agenda item number 17, the MAT building bus project. We have a change order to consider here with Blackmore Construction.
Yes, you can, thank you, Mayor and Council. You can look at what these changes were for. I did verify with Jeanette DeGarry from Marshall Area Transit that they had approved these prior to this meeting, that they had. We would recommend approval on the table.
Any questions on this change order?
Not on the change order itself, but then driving by there, it seems like my parking lot is lower than all the surrounding area, including the street. Why was that done intentionally?
The reason for that is that there's an alternate section for roadway development there, and the current system does drain as long as there's a storm sewer installed to the site. Right now, there's an inadequate storm sewer running to the site that our department is looking at doing an improvement project with our own forces. There's a large storm sewer that runs 150 feet east of that facility, and we're going to bring storm sewer up to that location with ultimately, when Cassuth gets improved, that storm sewer for that road will be connected to this storm sewer as well. So yes, there is some improvements necessary for stormwater in that area. When we had the big rain, there was problems with the drainage, but we're going to rectify those.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the change order? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
second.
Motion by Matt, or motion by Dan, seconded by Mike, excuse me. Discussion on that motion? Not all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Aye. Jamie, you have that vote? Okay, all those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. Those opposed? Agenda item number 18 is the 1259 addition and improvement project. We have a resolution to consider that would approve the plans and specifications and authorize the advertisement for bids.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This project includes water and sewer to serve much of the Club 59 addition. The blue is the water line installation, and the green is the sanitary sewer line installation. There's portions of it down here. Some of the water main then will be extended and tied into the Windstar improvement project, so that portion will wait until this project is approved and constructed. So this one involves the service of water and sewer to most of the properties within Club 59 addition.
Questions for Bill? Yes. No questions, is there a motion for the resolution approving the plans and specification and authorizing the advertisement of bids?
To move the resolution.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Larry. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 19 is consider the introduction of the ordinance amending the salaries and compensation of mayor and council members. Our city charter requires only that we discuss this. So that we discuss this at our first meeting in July. So now's the time of that meeting, now's the time to have that discussion. If possible actions would be to introduce the ordinance as it is, or some alternative to that, and then that would be considered at our next regular council meeting. The other action would be to not introduce it, have no action. The discussion has taken place, and there would be no change to our compensation. Dennis, you want to make any additional comments?
No, I believe you framed it very well.
Move the introduction of the ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Larry. Discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Show of hands. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Jane, do you have that vote? Agenda item number 20 is council member commission board liaison reports. The EDA meets tomorrow, as does the Fire Relief Association, and the Regional Development Commission has their annual meeting this coming Thursday, and that information was included in the packet for invitation for any and all. Mike?
Yeah, still, most of mine are coming up. The only thing that met is wait a minute, legislative annoyed, which one was it?
Eleanor?
No. And we decided to postpone a recommendation on the purchasing changes and so forth until we get the input of the new city administrator as to what his view is.
Oh, yeah, that was Ways and Means, right.
Okay, wait a minute.
You missed Eleanor. Okay.
So then you're on the hot seat to read that over and give us some input.
Kathy's writing it down, she's got it.
That's it.
Larry?
Community services does not meet in July, and the rest of mine are coming up this week.
Okay, and Jenny?
Probably is met.
Mike?
Both mine are coming up later.
And Dan?
Both mine are coming up.
Agenda item number 21 is council member individual. Jenny? Larry?
Nothing.
Dan?
Shane, have you heard anything on that street light issue on Stephen Ave?
No, I can contact anyone we want. Staff said,
Mike?
Nothing.
Or Dan, do you have anything more? Okay, Mike? And Mike? I would just call the council's attention to the stormwater prevention program handout that Shane had prepared and presented at the meeting. Shane, that was a couple of weeks ago, we had that meeting. Anyway, it's first off, it's a required program, but I think Shane has done, as well as the department has done, considerable work on it to be sure that this required program is implemented right, so it benefits the community. So it's a very good presentation. I invite the council to review that. If you have additional questions, Shane is the person to talk to.
I just wanted to also point out, with the assistance of Kathy, we've added a page on our website that also includes this, and we'll be developing a lot of things to add to that stormwater page for the community to use as resources to meet the goals of the firm as we move forward.
So it goes all the way from not only grass clippings into the curb and gutter to how we handle stormwater and tidal lake. So, I mean, it's wide, there's a wide spectrum of implications, all with the goal of reducing the amount of pollution that would be going into our waterways. One other thing, Glenn, you want to make any comments on the hiring of city assessor?
We have a new city assessor coming to work for us. Third week, I believe, in July. 21st. And comes from Chippewa County in Montevideo. And with several years of experience, and I think she'll be a good asset to our community.
Very good. We'll move on then to agenda item number 22. Review of pending agenda items. Any questions or comments on the pending agenda items? Now, I'll move on to agenda item number 23. The item here is consider a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute. And that statute, Dennis, relates to negotiation of property.
Negotiation of price for the purchase of real estate, yes.
When we come out of closed session, are you going to have anyone? I have a couple. Okay, I have a couple more items we talked about.
Okay, we'll come when, if there's a motion to go into closed session. I would anticipate that this closed session will not be very long. And we'll come back out of closed session and then we'll redo our meeting. And I understand that, glad you have some additional things you would like to bring up at that time. And I'm sure Ben, you might want to make some additional closing comments. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So when we move these other items there, so when we can get out of here?
You're going to be here for the closed session?
Yeah.
Okay, so move.
Motion by Dan to go into closed session, seconded by Larry. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of going into closed session, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. We'll take a short session. We are at the end of our meeting. Tom, do you have anything? Or first off, is there anything else further to come forward from the council? Tom, do you have anything?
No.
Glenn?
Yes, two items. You have one of them in front of you. Due to the last-minute adjustments of budget at the state legislature this spring, the $15 million that was transferred from Minot Aeronautics to the general fund directly impacted the project that we had in our CIP and online for 2008. And we have a copy of the 5-year CIP attached to this, but these are the items that we believe that we need to get funded one way or the other. One was the replacement of the roof on the shop connected to the WPA building, leaking severely. The WPA hangar improvements and the runway crack repairs. Those are shown as $49,000 of state funding in the 70-30 split that we were expecting. That's our share of that $15 million transfer. We're asking whether or not we fund that from other sources, city sources. We recommend those repairs to be made, otherwise they're going to deteriorate. We aren't going forward with a recommendation on the other items at this time that are under our CIP, but believe that those things need to be funded for improvement.
Are these going to be bid, or are you just taking quotes on this?
We would generally take quotes. The crack repair, for instance, there's only a couple of different entities that do that repair. Generally, we would take quotes on roof repairs.
Being on the airport commission, and the airport commission did spend considerable time talking about and doing that CIP plan. The runway crack repair, if that's not done, we're just creating bigger problems for 1, 2, 3 years down the line. I mean, we're just pushing it off on somebody else. The WPA and the shop next to it, they need to be done too, or they are going to deteriorate. And I don't think we can we've been postponing those for the airport projects we've had. If you looked at our 2006 annual financial statement, we had fund balances were increased rather substantially, and I think we should just go ahead and pick up the state's fight. And I'd like to send a letter to the state thanking them for taking the $15 million back again. They stole it once, gave it back, and they promised to give it back. They did give it back. This time they took it, and there's no promises. We are going to give it back. But when they start playing their little games and it affects our budget years, I think we're being treated with quite a bit of disrespect by our local yokels in St. Paul. So I would move that we just take this out of fund balance, of the general fund.
Who seconded that motion?
Second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Mike. Discussion?
Yeah, Mike, are you saying we should bid this, or are you just gonna take polls?
Oh,
I'd sure like to see it bid.
Well, that's fine, I don't care.
It could be part of your work.
I'll make it part of the motion when we bid. That's fine.
That's okay with your second? I agree with what you're saying, Mike, in that these are essential projects to be able to, we being the city, as well as the state and federal government, have a substantial investment out there. And we need to preserve that. Other discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes.
Second item I have is, if you've been downstairs, you've noticed that the air conditioning unit for the first floor is out. It happens to include Ben's office. He hasn't complained yet. But anyway, we took a look at and specifications put together, and we did call for proposals for that work. The estimate was about $5,000. We got 3 proposals for that work. The lowest price was $4,233.85. The highest proposal was $12,153. I would recommend that we would approve replacing the unit for the $4,233.85.
But just a real quick question, why the $8,000 difference?
The exact same 7.5-ton unit. It might be time, availability, and the cost of the unit itself. This is a Lennox unit, guaranteed according to what we need.
And then everybody that is within the city limits, that's in this business, had an opportunity to quote
That's
this.
correct.
They said it was advertised in the paper.
Yes, it was advertised in the paper as well.
Certainly everybody reads the paper.
To answer your question on Mr. Bill, is the difference between a sharp pencil and a dull pencil?
Okay, then. So then you need a motion on that, Ron?
Yes, we do.
Yes, and it's not included in the budget, and that also we'll have to see where that, at the end of the year, or maybe before that, it will most likely come from unallocated reserve, because we do not have money in the budget for this repair and building maintenance.
I would move to approve the repair at 42,335.
Second.
Motion by Larry, second by Mike. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
We will include a copy of the proposals as well with the purchase order that goes on permanent record at the, in Tom's office.
Anything else, Glenn?
No.
And once again, Glenn, minutes to, the publicly recognize you for the work you've done.
It was great. It's great to have Ben on staff. There's a lot of work to be done there, and just really nice to have Ben on staff. Appreciate all the support that all of the councils give.
Thank you, Glenn. Dennis?
Yes, Mayor, just one short comment. The city recently received a complaint filed against the city for loss of value from the property owner next door who had an underground access to the old Marshall Hotel that was out in the public right-of-way out on the sidewalk. During the Main Street construction project, that access was filled, was covered up. And so a lawsuit, small claims court here in Lyon County was initiated. We received notice a year ago that the value was about $50,000 of lost opportunity for that piece of property. Conciliation court matter was initiated for $7,500 worth of damages. The judge agreed with our position that there's no such lawsuit, that we had the right to do what we did during the construction. Not only there was that project, there were lots of other little manhole covers, lots of projects that were covered up by the sidewalk. And the judge dismissed the action. Now I'm concerned that we may have won the battle, but we're still fighting a larger war. I believe the property owner will probably appeal that matter to district court. He has a right to do that by the end of business on July 11th. So we'll know by the end of this week whether they'll continue to proceed to district court. But the MnDOT representative, Dina Knudsen, was at the hearing. Dina did a very nice job, and both the city of Marshall and the state of Minnesota were jointly sued over the loss of that access. And the judge threw the case out. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Dennis. And Beth, anything that you'd like to add this evening?
Well, I'm trying, as I indicated earlier, I'm kind of in an information gathering stage right now, I guess. I'm going through documents that have been given that I've been told will help educate me and give me some background on some things. I've got a very full schedule. I think you've all been provided some of my, probably give an updated schedule as to whom I'm meeting with. Internally, I'm having meetings with the division heads, trying to actually go and physically see departments. I've had some tours today. Individually trying to set meetings with all of you to get some feedback there. So that's kind of my first stage, is just trying to gather information. My plan of action basically is trying to get acclimated as quickly as possible so I can have the information at hand. I'm generating my own perspectives that obviously as I go along, and with that you'll probably see more incremental changes, as I try and evaluate and prioritize things. And so next council meeting is probably getting a little bit more direction as to types of things that are going. But I certainly don't have plans to come in here and rock the boat immediately. I like to try and analyze things, sit back, evaluate processes, and identifying some priorities. And certainly I think some have stuck out today already with budget process needing to get identified as far as setting up a formal procedure, trying to get a better handle on, we'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks about how things have been done in the past and maybe how we'll do things in the future. I see some need for some time to be spent on things like capital improvement planning. I see some value in identifying that. We have a LELS union contract that's still open, and I think we'll need some priority to be identified. So I'm excited. There's a lot of work to do, and I'm trying as quickly as possible to kind of get up to speed on things. And so it's going well. It's a great first day, and I just want to, again, re-emphasize again how great the staff has been to work with. I think you have a very professional organization here, and you've made my transition very smooth so far. So I look forward to working with you more.
Thank you, Ben. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Motion by Larry, second by Mike. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're good.